What if everything you heard about weight loss medications was only half the truth? Today, we're discussing GLP-1 secrets the media isn't telling you about, from microdosing to muscle misconceptions, and how this powerful tool is changing lives without all the hype. Welcome to Ageless Island, your destination for staying strong, sharp, and ageless. For those of you who don't know me from my podcast yet, my name is Gina. I love to research wellness, and I share what's worked for me, what's worked for my husband and my family. Thank you so much for being here and watching the videos. So when I say GLP-1s, I'm talking about medications like semaglutide and tirzepatide with a viewpoint that you may not have considered before. So I'm not talking about the name brand injectables like Wegovy or Ozempic. I'm talking about the compounded sublingual tablets and liquids. These aren't taking away from the medical supply. I'm not talking about those that are needed for diabetics or for people with medical conditions. Remember, this isn't medical advice. It's just my husband and my journey with metabolism, muscle maintenance, and microdosing. Always talk to your healthcare provider before you start any medication, especially GLP-1s. What works for Ageless Island might not work for everyone. So what are GLP-1s? Originally, they were used for type 2 diabetes, but now the FDA has approved them for weight loss, cardiovascular, and even sleep apnea. And they're showing some other surprising benefits, but I'm going to talk about those closer to the end of the video. So there's a few things that the headlines miss. Now that the FDA has said there's no longer a shortage in these products, a lot of people think you can't get them from compounded pharmacies anymore and that you have to get the expensive name brand types. But in reality, the online pharmacies and some of your local compounding pharmacies are still offering generic sublingual options legally at these compounded pharmacies. What they're really worried about are those pre-filled injectors, and that was what there was a shortage of. From what we have heard, the sublingual tablets and drops are not at risk of going away, and you can still get them. And what's good about them is they're very dose controllable, unlike those injectors. And good news too, the compounded versions usually come without preservatives, stabilizers, or dyes, unlike the commercial injectables that do have to have a longer shelf life. One thing to consider too, you shouldn't have to keep bumping up your dose. If you have side effects like nauseousness, fatigue, or your appetite is overly suppressed, your dose might be too strong. And finally, you don't have to be obese or diabetic to benefit, but your insurance may only cover it if you meet certain BMI or glucose guidelines. Online options exist even if you're just trying to lose that last stubborn 10 pounds or if you want the other health benefits that these medications can offer. And for this reason, something called microdosing is really trending. So what is microdosing? There's a big misconception out there of what it is. It's not just the standard low dose. It's not cutting the low dose in half. It's using a fraction of the standard dose. Again, not just the starting low dose. It's like using like a fifth or a tenth of that starting dose. The goal is to avoid side effects while still getting benefits. So you want to avoid nauseousness. You want to avoid fatigue, constipation, that flat mood you can get. This is definitely a growing trend with health-minded adults and longevity experts. This is not used for major weight loss. You should already be metabolically sound before you start this. If you need to lose over 20 pounds, you probably need to talk to your doctor and you need to look at standard dosing. Additionally, there are benefits of microdosing GLP-1 after menopause, which is really cool. So what happens is just like with your hormones, where you stop producing as much as you did when you were young, your body stops producing GLP-1 at the same rate it did when it was young as well. So you can provide yourself with a physiological dose that just mimics the body's natural levels. And that can help restore your natural appetite regulation and your blood sugar. It can help with redistribution of that stubborn midsection weight gain. It can give you a gentle weight loss without compromising your muscles. It can reduce your inflammation. It can help with joint stiffness or osteoarthritis and support your brain, your mood health. You've got GLP-1 receptors in so many parts of your body. So the benefits to your brain are brain fog, mood swings, not having mood swings, and it's even being looked at right now for Alzheimer's prevention. It can preserve your muscle and your energy, and at low doses, it helps you to eat better and not to starve yourself. It can be gentler on your GI system. Again, no nauseousness, fatigue, constipation. Those are dose dependent. So at higher doses, that's when you're really going to start to notice those things. So microdosing may be metabolic magic with fewer side effects. So I want to share my journey, mine and my husband's journey with you. A lot of people out there aren't talking about this, and I think this can be so beneficial to people's health journey. So we want to share what we've tried and how it's worked for us, and get people talking about things like this. So my husband and I both started using compounded semaglutide tablets back in September. I started out at a dose of 0.125 milligrams, and I've stayed at that dose. I've lost 10 pounds. And the key thing I've noticed, I've lost my menopausal belly fat, better fat distribution, so around my midsection. Also, my joints are more comfortable. And then for my husband, Sam, he started out at 0.5 milligrams and titrated up to 0.9 milligrams, and he has lost 40 pounds. He's also had significant improvements in his labs and less joint pain. He's had shoulder pain for a few years now, and that has subsided a lot. His ankle pain is almost gone. We can go on long walks. And, I realize a lot of that could be from weight loss as well, but he's just noticing, even especially with the shoulder, that different ways he would move the arm in the past are not having the effect they did before he started taking the semaglutide. As far as his labs go, before and after results, our A1C is down to 5.4 from 5.6. His triglycerides were 74 and are now down to 64. And his inflammation, which we don't have a before for, but now it's down to 0.4 milligrams per liter, which is excellent. So those are fantastic results that we're seeing now that he's on the semaglutides. Losing weight helped, but the GLP-1s themselves, we think, really reduced inflammation and the insulin resistance in his case. Again, we're not using this to be skinny. We're using it to feel better, to move better, and to age better. Now, a lot of people out there, you hear all the negatives with GLP-1s. So they're talking about muscle loss, Ozempic face, and Ozempic butt, and how you lose your muscles, which you can, but it's not the fault of the Ozempic or the semaglutide. The truth is that any rapid weight loss, regardless of the method, it could be keto, it could be fasting. If you lose weight too rapidly, you're going to have muscle loss. In addition, there are things you need to do to preserve your muscle while on semaglutides. So you need to prioritize your protein, bump up your protein. You're going to need way more than what you think you do. You need to lift weights. You need to slow the weight loss pace. You don't need to lose the weight as fast as people are losing weight out there. The good news with Sam and mine is his percentage of muscle mass has gone up slightly, and mine has gone from 29.3% to 30%. So it's not a huge change, but we're not losing muscle mass, which is awesome. When taking GLP-1s, there's a few things you should do. Again, getting enough protein is critical. So for me personally, I weigh 111, and at a minimum, I need to get 60 grams of protein, but I should shoot for 100 grams of protein just to maintain muscle. Another thing, you're not as hungry, so a lot of people are still eating the garbage they were always eating. You can't do that. You have to eat foods that are going to benefit your body. And again, resistance and weight bearing is critical. You have to build that muscle. You give it the protein to help it build up, but you also have to do the weight bearing exercises to help build that muscle up. And you need to stay active. We're walking regularly too. So, instead of sitting on the couch all the time, get out there, take a walk. It doesn't have to be a long walk. Just walk for 10 minutes. Aim for slow, steady weight loss, like 1 pound a week. That's an ideal way to go. Stay hydrated, watch your gut health. Take probiotics or eat probiotics, prebiotics, and magnesium can be an important supplement to help out with that as well. So here are some really cool things, unexpected benefits from taking a GLP-1 that the research is just now starting to show and discuss. So there are neuroprotective benefits and liver support, especially if you have metabolic dysfunction. They have anti-inflammatory effects that can help you with joint pain and your arthritis. They can assist, and this is really cool, they can assist with addictive behaviors. So they modulate your dopamine so it can reduce cravings for food, for alcohol, for cigarettes, and even crazy stuff like gambling and shopping. People are showing less need to do the online shopping and gambling. So that could be really beneficial down the road. And then I mentioned this once before, but if you are on hormone replacement therapy, you can get even better effects from your semaglutide. For instance, if you take the two of them together, you can have an improved insulin sensitivity. You have greater fat loss. It preserves your lean muscle mass. You can have less visceral fat accumulation, which is very good and important. It can offset the risk of losing your skin tone, and the combined use can reduce inflammation markers even more than taking one separate from the other one. So why is there so much negative press out there, and why are so many companies not thrilled with GLP-1s? I think a lot of people are just stating a lot of the bad things and not talking about the good things because there's only a few big companies out there that have patents to even make this, and the others are left out. So, GLP-1s can reduce the need for other drugs. They might reduce the need for metformin and other diabetes drugs, which, makes some of the companies out there making these medications a little bit antsy. They're not thrilled with that. Also, the need for joint replacements has gone down since a lot of people have started GLP-1s. People aren't needing CPAP machines because it's helping with sleep apnea. People aren't taking as many statins now as they were. So all of this has led to a potential shift in our healthcare model from chronic treatment to prevention, which is awesome if we move to that model all around. But this isn't for everybody, so you should think twice about taking a GLP-1 if you have a history of pancreatitis or severe GI disorders, if you're underweight, or if you've had an eating disorder in the past, and always pair this with medical guidance, get labs, and life support changes. So GLP-1s can be powerful tools when used strategically. They're not a substitute for sleep, exercise, and healthy food, though. It's not about vanity, it's about energy, resilience, and prevention. Why wait until there's a problem to do something about it? So I would love to hear about your experiences. Are you taking GLP-1s? Have you thought about it? Have you found a local pharmacy that's really easy to work with? If you could put that in the comments. And again, please like and subscribe. It helps me to know if what I'm doing is right, if I'm on the right track, and if you're enjoying what you're hearing. And if you would like some more in-depth information on GLP-1s, there's a video host that I really like, Dr. Tina Moore, and she's got a video to start with called Ozempic Done Right, Part 1. Again, that means she's got a lot of other videos out there still talking about GLP-1s, but this is a really good starting place. And if you like that one, you could look into all of her videos. Thank you all so much for watching, and thank you, John Patty, for providing the music.